Welcome back, everyone, and we are here for another match with Kasa going up against Iliad Artemis, not to be mixed up with the other team, Helios. And it is going to be an interesting game today. We are back on the desk here. I am Zav, joined with a special guest.
Hey, I'm Ben, joining on the cast tonight. Certainly some kind of guest. I like being called special. That's always nice. But happy to be here for some FACEIT League Master action. Bit of what do they call it in soccer? A relegation scrap. Two teams
Ah,
kind of
yeah, yeah,
bottom
yeah.
of the table. Trying to get a win.
Both of these
Three and
teams are
eight
trying to get a
against
win.
5 and 6. Yeah, both looking maybe trying to find a way to squeak into playoffs, but also trying to avoid getting sent down to expert league.
Yeah, right now the big thing I think for Casa is that they're trying to get some momentum coming here in the second half. They managed to start off the new year with a win. They've had multiple roster changes, and they went up against a very strong NTMR Academy just the other night and played them really well. People were expecting it to be a little bit more of a wash, kind of like a 3-0 situation that they just got ran over with. And they ended up taking them to 5 games, which was a really great showing on their part. And on the other side, we've got Artemis over here. They're having a bit of a rough start to the year as well, coming in at an 0-3 to take things on, but they've been playing some of the top ranked, teams. 2 of those 3 games were, the one, top 5 current ranked teams here in the FACEIT League. So it's been a tough go for both of these teams here in the start of the new year. So they're gonna both definitely be looking for a win.
Yeah, big potential here for a swing in the table. Um, a lot on the line for both of these sides. We're going to be getting into the match in just a minute or two. Zach, who do you think are? Did I just say Zax? Zav. I don't know where I invented the second part of that name from, but um, who do you think are some of the impact players we should be looking out for?
Well, I don't know too much about Artemis because I haven't had a chance to see them play yet this league. We only got to see Helios early on, but I know coming into it right now, the hot hand, at least for Casa, has been McChicken. They have been a very uh, dominating presence for the team. However, a lot of the time that comes only into play when Casa is playing their game of being a much more aggressive team where he is able to get onto his vendetta and is getting into the enemy team's backline and really just putting a
Sorry,
lot of
who?
pressure around. McChicken?
McChicken?
McChicken.
My God, I gotta get up to date. These NA new gen players. Um,
He's new to the roster. He just joined following the Christmas break, so he's only been here for a couple weeks so far. So he's a little bit of a newer name for us, having
McChicken.
joined. Yeah, and he plays very well off of Leo, who is the current tank for Casa. And the thing Casa struggles with is when they get put on the defensive and they have to play a bit of a slower paced game, and they're kind of on the back foot. They struggle a little bit recovering and trying to get holding in order to stop whatever pressure is being put on them.
Right.
But we learned recently, just last matchup, that for maps, Casa is actually feeling kind of comfortable with King's Row, which normally a lot of the games that we see, these teams don't like to do the hybrid maps early on or at all if they can avoid it. And it's actually become a map that we've seen Casa go back to now after they have seen some success on it in back to back weeks. So, going to be interesting to see if we see that early on. Is there any maps that you might see one of these teams throw in as a bit of a change up outside of the norm of what is normally picked as like favorited maps?
Yeah, I mean, I think just thinking about the kind of gameplay that Kasa really wants to do, I think New Queen Street. It's probably a map that you really want to bring. Get Redux on Lucio. Get him able to kind of keep things moving. Um, it got a little bit of I really actually like the main support kind of showdown here between Redux and I believe it's Industrial is the main support for Iliad Artemis. These are actually okay. So this like goes way back, but if anybody remembers the first stage ever of OWCS North America, um, there was a team that made top 16 and got disqualified because they had players who were underage. Um, that team was Iliad Artemis, and like most of that team is still on Iliad Artemis. Um,
Ah, that would explain why they have two team pages.
Same backline, same tank, and one of the same DPS. Four of the five still together. Um, so these are players that are young, but also have been playing together for a very long time. I think one of the really more impressive cores in terms of their ability to like staying together for 2 years is really, really impressive, especially with just how much roster mania happens in FACEIT League, and they've brought in new people this stage. Amadou, really good hit scan player, and Floomfy, which is a name that I had not heard in a very long time, but that's somebody who like played contenders like 2-3 years ago. Um, so I think Amadou in particular is a player that he is very much a classical hit scan player. Like you see him on Widow and you should be kind of afraid. Um, because of that, I think the path to Iliad Artemis victory here is kind of what you were saying about playing into Kasa's weakness of slowing the game down. I think Amadou's hit scan play could potentially be a major path forward to that.
I can definitely see how that can be the case for them because when it comes to at least on Casa's side, uh, sometimes originally before McChicken had joined the team, it was Proven's primary role playing the hit scan character for the team. But depending on the situation and what McChicken is feeling, sometimes McChicken actually moves over to the hit scan character, picking up the Sojourn and looking to get those aggressive plays out there with it. But when that happens, we've actually most commonly been seeing Proven falling back to playing on Cassidy, which normally sometimes has been very hit or miss. And for the first time, as we are seeing here, and the map is loading up, the page is loading up, for the very first time since we have been casting for Kasa, this Face It League, the first map of the day is not Nepal. It has always been Nepal. We are getting a complete curveball
That's
right
that's
off the
because it's
bat with
Iliad's map
Ilios.
pick. Um,
Ah,
yeah. So
so that must mean
they've
they
gone
must
with
feel pretty confident. They must feel pretty comfortable here then.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be just straight up because I don't want to pretend to be something I'm not. I don't think I've ever watched this Iliad Artemis team play. I've watched their newer members play. I've watched a good bit of Amadou gameplay. Um, just cards on the table because I don't wanna talk with authority about stuff I don't actually know. But one thing I do know is that Ilios typically these days means diva. And so as we wait to see what the hero bans are going to be for this matchup, would you look at that? Diva's been banned. So you go to Ilios. I actually cannot see on the FACEIT card who banned which hero. I believe it was Iliad. I think they banned first because they picked the first map as well. Um, so Diva ban coming through. What does that signal to you about what kind of composition we could be seeing? Do you think?
I think really what we're looking at here, and maybe this is just something that Kasa is playing off of from what happened in their previous matchups, where they really like playing Zarya into the Gravwell, and there have been a few instances where specifically Diva has been something that has very heavily counteracted a lot of their Gravwell plays. Just even simply walking into the grab well, actually deliberately going into the grab well as Diva and
Mm,
blocking any of the follow up that's going on there. And Diva's also a character that with Ilios, there's lots of ways to push people off the map. And Diva has a lot of maneuverability on a map like this with lots of ledges and being able to just kind of fly around a bit more than other tanks might. Outside of Winston. Winston would be the other one that we might see here in this matchup, and that's been one that has been a little bit of a hit or miss in terms of how Kasa has been able to deal with it. So I think it's going to be an interesting situation coming out there, but we could just see straight out the gate. You know, a Zarya versus Zarya, Sigma v Sigma. Sigma's been a lot more common now, having his recent buffs in the last couple weeks. So it'll be interesting.
yeah, so it's going to be Painkare and a Duck on Quack in a DPS for Iliad. Artemis. I keep having to remind myself Artemis. There's so many Iliad teams. I remember once I was tracking OWCS Open Qualifier rosters, and there were like 7 of them. Which, like, good on good on them for building a community, but goddamn, that's confusing. That's really confusing. Um, okay, so Valkyrie Zen. I like this a lot on Ilios. Really able to set your Wrecking Ball up to take aggressive angles with that Kiriko healing. Okay, never mind. Thanks a lot, Leo. You really made me look like a
Yeah,
fool
no,
there.
that's why the teams tend to love to do that. They show something at the
Thanks.
very
Thanks a lot,
beginning,
Leo.
and then they
This
swap it
is
out
why
at the
this is
last
why you're
second.
not gonna make Team Philippines, buddy. But no.
For the first time that we are seeing a hazard, I haven't seen a hazard yet in any of the matches that we've seen so far. But here's McChicken on that Vendetta, like we've seen immediately getting in to the back line and jumping around and is looking to reposition around in the backside. And they're hunting for the healers on the backside of the map. They are seeing McChicken go down there in the pursuit. Unfortunate. Painkare taking him out early on. And Zarya lighting up on this hazard here in the corner. He's got him walled off a little bit, walled himself off, and preventing any sort of back shots that he can receive there in the corner. But right now, it is looking like it is going to be Artemis pushing, uh, Ilios pushing, no, not Ilios, Iliad. Ilios,
Ilios,
Iliad.
Iliad, Ilios. Yeah, great.
Ah,
Home field advantage. Yeah,
yeah, a
but
little bit.
yeah, McChicken went way far with the Zarya bubble. I think the bubble came in kind of too early onto McChicken's Vendetta, and he got burst down. Now Hex dies too. Look at this.
Very quick pickup there by Maverick. We're seeing some really aggressive play here by Maverick with another melee strike, now taking down Proven, and that is going to force Kasa to have to reset and regroup as it's looking like Iliad is going to take a very aggressive positioning here outside of spawn and look to try to just keep him there.
Yeah, Vendetta has a similar weakness to Brigida in both being melee heroes, in that they're not super great when they get completely surrounded from all sides. Vendetta does a bit better in this regard because her damage radius is wider than Briggs, but similar weakness to being overwhelmed. You saw that with the Echo Bombs into the Hazard Slash. Now a Duck on Quack trying to take an aggressive angle and prevent the enemy hit scan from gaining ground.
Yeah, and we are seeing Proven on the Cassidy, working up that sidelong angle, trying to move up with that stun bomb, but it is just Hazard Maverick diving in and is actually walling them off, but Proven does get a kill on a Duck on Quack, taking them out of the equation, and in pursuit goes McChicken on that Vendetta as the Kasa is looking to move out of spawn, but Proven is in the backside, hitting a few shots, taking some of the pressure away. They get corralled inside the house. Proven gets copied, goes for the Deadeye. McChicken finishing off Mardox, and they are pushing into the middle of the map now. There is the Lucio jumping around, looking for a knock potentially. And a Duck on Quack pops the ult, gets Redix down, the support down. We see the beats dropped by Kasa. Into the backside of the room goes Proven, firing off onto Maverick, and that's going to be 2 down for Iliad, and is going to be Kasa taking control of the point.
Yeah, Sandberry ends up coming in really clutch there. from Hex. I just noticed Red X is on Kiriko. I guess I didn't realize. I guess he plays flex support on this team, Smurfin. In his Dildux off season. But yeah, even though Red X dies before he could receive the sound barrier, still enough to win that 4v5 for Kasa. Now Mardox with a Kitsune Rush of his own ready. Also, Fluffy sound barrier, double support ults for Iliad.
And we do see the Fox Gates out. They have the beats dropped, ready to go. But Maverick is just pushing in on this Zarya, trying to zone them out of the point. They have control of it right now. Kasa has to touch and keep the overtime going. They can't just give up the space on it. And we are seeing Painkare fly around right now. Beats are dropped. They're looking to just extend out this fight and win the trade. Maverick really low, though, hanging on for dear life. Low HP, we see Red X taking out Duckquack, but Maverick dropped Hex on the other side. Kasa is down a couple members right now. McChicken finishing off Painkare in the air and is looking to take out Maverick as well. Double kill for McChicken, bringing him down. Three-piece, wiping out Iliad here on the point. Leo getting that final kill on Mardox, and that is going to be a wipeout for Kasa on Iliad there to take control of the point in that overtime situation.
Unbelievable bit of clutch there from McChicken. When Vendetta gets that passive ability going, she can be really difficult to take down when she's fully charged up with her passive, which I forget the name of it, but another Vendetta ult coming online. No support ults for Iliad Artemis in this upcoming fight. Mardox pretty close to Kitsune Rush.
Yeah, and we do also have the Deadeye available, and so he can use. Proven has the ability to either use that Deadeye as a zoning opportunity or to pick up some kills if he sees an opportunity of Iliad moving into open space. But right now, Kasa seems to have good control of the point, keeping them zoned out. Painkare does copy into Vendetta, gets really low though, forced out of their transformation early on, never gets the chance to get their ult off. Duck on Quack, really low, is in pursuit. McChicken finishing off Mardox. Hex took down as well. Leo exchanging for the tanks, dropping Maverick, Floomfy out, and that is going to be a team kill wipe for Kasa in order to take position and maintain control of the point. And we are getting here into the final percentage. McChicken looking to take over at the final, looking to take position here and keep Iliad off the point.
Yep, heading into final fight territory here. Kitsune Rush available for Mardox, but they lose their Echo before he can even pop it. Sound barrier now out from Hex. Maverick is getting burned down in the corner, and it looks like Kasa has run this back all the way from 0 to 100 to take Ilios well.
There was incredible finish. Kasa does tend to have a habit of having a bit of a slow start. It's a bad habit for them, but once they do get going, they got cornered, and once they were able to push out and get some momentum, they were able to roll with that momentum. And I don't think we really saw McChicken ever let up as soon as he was able to just let that sword fly.
Yeah, really showing the power of Vendetta in longer fights. Her value increases as the fight goes on. People used to say that about Pharah, but I think it's that on steroids for Vendetta. Her kit is really, really designed to just rapidly scale in value as things go on. Same compositions I do for both sides, except for Proven now over onto the Ashe. Longer range for this longer sightline point. Makes a lot of sense over the Cassidy here.
Yeah, a bit more open space. A lot of good opportunities to be able to get that bomb off and get some, chip pressure. But immediately we see McChicken diving in, diving back out, jumping around. That's the crazy thing about Vendetta, is that she is just such a mobile hero, and you have to really punish her when she gets in order to really capitalize on it. And here she's got him trapped in the corner. Duck on Quack down. McChicken picking up 1, 2 for another one for another triple overall for Kasa, almost wiping out the entirety of Iliad, but they are still chasing them back to spawn. Painkare did manage to take out Proven in that exchange, not fully wiping them out in this total process.
Vendetta is just so strong. If you get locked in a corner with her, it's really difficult to survive. But even so, look at how little ult charge McChicken has. It's only at 36%. Look at how much ult charge Painkare has. Maverick getting the first kill onto Hex with his spike guard. You're gonna see a tactical retreat of sorts from Kasa, but Maverick looks like he's out for blood. They're gonna push up into spawn now, having taken the point. The kill feed colors in our feed are flipped from the actual hero colors, and we are trying our best here. But
Yeah, it gets a little tricky. You just have to, you know, keep an eye on what the names are on each side of the team.
yes,
And here we see Iliad pushing back towards the point, getting pushed out. McChicken just jumping in behind on Maverick, trying to eat away at his health pool. He is currently being bubbled because Paincare took over the Zarya, and here's the Thorns dropped by Maverick, and they are going to pick up 3 members of Kasa here and force them to retreat back. Flumphy knocking Hex off the map and Maverick wiping out Leo, and that is going to be a full reset for Kasa in that exchange. That was a great ult pickup by Paincare there in order to bubble Maverick and really just let Maverick go really aggressive on that hazard.
yeah, Leo burned a lot of resource. Looked like McChicken was about to go on the map. Leo burned a lot of resources trying to keep McChicken alive. Succeeded in that effort, but used so much that the rest of the team was vulnerable to that nuke grab. Now Proven getting things off along with a duck on Quack, getting the double support pick off. That is going to be a fight win for the side of... Oh, the colors are fixed. Okay, that's cool. Thank you. That is going to be a fight win for the side of... Is now Leo trying to build up to his next Graviton Surge. It was really his first Graviton Surge, actually.
And we are going to see a Duck on Quack actually swap off of that Widow onto the Cassidy. Proven forced to disengage there as they got Thornwalled off a little bit there by Hazard. It's really interesting to see a Hazard play into a Zarya, mainly just because it's usually something that would maybe work in Zarya's favor, being able to build up charge so easily. And here's the beats are dropped. McChicken's diving into the backline. They do have ult available here on this Vendetta, but first they're just trying to get some damage down. Instead, they're going to get dropped out by a Duck on Quack, but without using their ult. Proven currently has their ult popped, has someone trapped in the corner, trying to get the finish off, gets the rail shot off on Floofy and Mardox. That's a double kill for Proven. He is going crazy. Duck on Quack ends his killing spree though, and Paincare is going to finish off Hex as well. And now Kasa is having to try and keep the pressure on while still falling back towards the point a little bit. They have control of the middle still at this time, but they are dropping one by one instead of fully regrouping, and it is looking like we're going to see Iliad take control once again, and they're going to position and try to keep Kasa off the point as this last bit of percent wears off.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to be a fight with McChicken going down, and that's going to be the point pretty much wrapped up for Iliad as we are going to a third map. Let me ask you a question, Zab. So I have just the past couple weeks, really the past month, been traveling, just playing other games. I haven't actually gotten a chance to play a lot, that much Vendetta. So what are the main kind of use cases for her ultimate? Because I was expecting them to combo it with the Graviton Surge, but we didn't see that. So what, like, how would you describe the way that pros are using Vendetta's ultimate?
So most commonly, that is when we actually have seen McChicken use it, is with the Gravity Well. That has been the primary casing of it. However, sometimes we have seen McChicken specifically using it as a way to zone people off of the point when they're rushing up to it, or just to eliminate a target early on in order to give an early 4v5 exchange as the point percentage is getting down low. At the end of a match.
Out there, a Duck on Quack though takes out McChicken. I was wondering how. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was wondering how the Hanzo was going to fare into the Vendetta. I thought he might be really vulnerable, but look at that, able to peel for his Kiriko.
Yeah, Hanzo's another one that we haven't actually seen a lot of. So this is it's very interesting seeing this Iliad team. Artemis
this is
running a little bit of a different heroes than what we're used to seeing, but Leo's going to finish out a Duck on Quack. McChicken bringing down Paincare, looking to get back into this fight, and there they are on the backside of Maverick as Maverick is running down the other members of Kasa. They are going to take him out. McChicken and Proven putting in the work right now onto Artemis, and they are going to get control of the point for the first time in this third match.
Yeah, Hanzo's one of those heroes where since Overwatch 2 started, really, he's never been meta, but he's never been completely unviable. He's kind of just always had, you know, his 5 5 or 6 maps points where he's viable. I think this is one of them. Not his most common point, but Maverick getting assaulted from all sides there. Now we see Floomfy caught in a dangerous 1v1 with a McChicken. I just realized it's chicken versus duck. Isn't that kind of nice?
At least it's not rabbit, and we don't have to worry about it being duck season or rabbit season.
Rabbits. I'm hunting wabbits. As Proven is hunting ducks. Gets the kill onto a duck on Quack. Gets another one onto Mardox. Yeah, even despite winning that first fight, it took a while for Iliad to cap the point. They didn't really get much capture percentage out of that fight win that they had. As we're gonna see a full-on. Oh, okay, a pause. That's cool.
We are getting a pause. That was a bit that last fight was actually a bit of a slower paced fight. It was kind of more of a one person falling slowly after another, and I think some of that was just some of the delay play that was going on. We did see Pain Care jump off the map at the end just to get a faster reset for the team. But one of the things that I actually thought was really great to see was Maverick making use of that hazard skill set. He actually jumped off the map at one point and then leapt back to the wall to then scale up the remaining height of the wall to take a different angle and entrance onto the point. He inevitably went down because he was alone on the point following the end of that, but it was still it was a nice thing to see in terms of use of his kit.
Yeah, whenever we're now getting back into the match, Kasa are close to having 5 ultimates. So
They are,
if,
yeah, they
if,
are,
if
and it is getting to that higher percentage.
properly, they could potentially win with this next fight. Hazard coming out from Maverick. They are going to take out McChicken at 99% to his Raven. I don't know, what is Vendetta's ult called? I don't even remember. I don't know, actually. Folks, put in chat what the name of Vendetta's ult is. Because I don't remember. I was about to say Ravaging Blade, but I don't think that's right. Is it? Oh, it's Sundering Blade, isn't it? It's Sundering Blade. That sounds right. Maverick now forced into a corner in the sauna. Is he going to be able to get back to point in time? Leo back on the Doomfist to contest the last scraps of this fight. Duck on Quack over to Tracer.
Beats being dropped though by Hex to extend out his team's exchange there. This fight started off with a great triple kill by McChicken, but now it's just a matter of the teams getting back to the point over and over. Proven picking up a double here with the ultimate, firing away on Sojourn. Redex bringing in some assists there, taking out Paincare and Maverick to finish things off, and that is going to be a team kill for Kasa to take a decisive victory in this game 1.
Yeah, just really excellent Vendetta play from McChicken. Able to get so much value from that big sword. And I think also the fights that we saw Iliad Artemis win, I think a lot of them were as a result of specifically forcing bad bubbles from Leo and making him bubble when at like inopportune moments, or bubble McChicken too early, too late. I think that is going to be the path to victory for Iliad if Kasa keeps running the Zarya composition.
So that round right there is actually a pretty impactful first round, first game loss for, I would say, Iliad here, because that is a map that they typically have a higher percent win rate on. Here according to FACEIT, that is a map that they have almost a 60% win rate on. So that is definitely one of their more comfortable maps, one of the maps that they see consistently better success on. And they're going to be picking the next map here again. And so what do you think they're going to look to go for next as their map of choice in terms of first the mode type, and then what map out of that pool?
Yeah, I think anything of the more divey variety. Maverick's Hazard was able to get a lot of pressure onto Leah Zarya there, and I think playing on map types where that's more advantageous for him. Kind of those longer sightline, leapy, jumpy kind of maps. I think that might be the path to victory, potentially.
You know, that would definitely be beneficial to them. They seem to do a lot better when they were able to maintain longer sight lines, which we saw in that mid-map exchange on Ilios, and they were able to make use of the Widowmaker for a little bit, and then eventually onto the Cassidy, and they just were able to put a lot more long-range pressure out, as well as Hazard being able to take a lot of very high ground presence on Kasa when they would be coming back to spawn. But you know, there's some interesting situations that we could see with it. I mean, New Junk City and Suravasa are, you know, flashpoint maps that don't really offer that as much. Those are maps that are more like
Okay.
control points that have stuff, but we are going to see Escort
Dorado.
with Dorado, which is a very common map that we've been seeing from Casa as well. So this will be interesting, as this is a map that we've seen Casa like to go to time and time again for when they get to pick the Escort map.
Yeah, I mean, this makes complete sense. Another divey map, like I was talking. Uh, if I'm reading the hero band screen correctly, no, that can't be right. I don't know what order the FACEIT. Yeah, no, I'm talking about who banned which hero. Just because I didn't. I'm only seeing it after the fact. Um, but Zarya was banned. I'm assuming that ban was from Kasa. It'd be weird. Or excuse me. I'm assuming that ban is from Iliad. Makes sense, right? And Anaban coming through, kind of wanting to disrupt any more traditionally divey compositions. Going to be a Sigma composition from Leo with the Kiri Lucio and Cass Vendetta. So this is interesting. A more close range everything else paired with the Sigma. Not what I would expect, but you know, it seems to me like they're maybe preparing for like another Hanzo Echo, maybe, but it's actually going to be Widow Vendetta. So now we're going to see Paincare pick up the Vendetta, go toe to toe, sword to sword.
Yeah, usually we see the Widowmaker as just a starting point to get out of spawn, as Duck on Quack picks up a quick kill there on Proven, but they are actually going to stick to that Widowmaker rather than swap off of it early.
I mean, the Widow on Dorado is, to my understanding, sort of you go with it until it stops working, kind of like Sim on Lijiang back in the day. A Duck on Twack. That sounds like he's on a drug or something. A Duck on Quack, getting another kill there onto Hex, who's now going to go over to the Brig, wants to be able to protect himself more. And that's another pickoff at long range by Mardox. If you look at that, Iliad is just going to roll through this first point without as much of a spattering of resistance from Kasa.
Yeah, Paincare is getting some really great aggressive play there on the Vendetta, and we are seeing that D.Va just kind of bully their way around into Kasa and, you know, block them off from really trying to hold any sort of angles. And right now they're taking a very aggressive positioning, looking to get somebody coming out of spawn even, as they're being backed up by Vendetta. They're diving in here on Red X, getting him low. Red X fighting for his life. Red X is going to go down. Maverick dropping him, and we are actually going to see Hex swap over to the Brigitte. And so that is going to maybe be a little bit more of a aggressive play for them from the support perspective, given how offensively we are seeing currently Iliad come out right now with that Vendetta.
Yeah, Sigma is so hard to play on this point into a D.Va and a Vendetta. I mean, there's just nowhere for you to run, as we see Red X now go down. Look at how far forward Maverick is. He's on point C. The card's halfway through point B.
But in the meantime, on the backside,
able to get a kill, yeah.
Leo and Hex are back on the point while everything else is going on there, and their team is being fought by their spawn. They're over here fighting the members of the Iliad off of the point and stopping that payload from advancing any further. So really good job on their part getting around and actually holding that up entirely, which is allowing their members to kind of reset out of spawn and catch up to them here on the payload.
I'm really hoping that was I'm gonna swap off Sigma the next time I die kind of Graviton Surge, because, not, Gravitic Flux, excuse me. Because if not, oh boy, that was a wasted ultimate. Just fluxing all by himself into a defense matrix, like, he's not gonna be able to get anything done there. Leo, you see, completely surrounded now. He's getting shot by the Widow on one side, shot from the Diva from above. His shield can't cover all of that. The Vendetta ult coming from behind is able to take out Red X.
But in exchange, McChicken bringing down Floofy.
Not too little, too late. Painkare is there, gonna win the 1v1 Sword v Mason. The back line is just like Fire Emblem. Sword beats, well, it's not an axe, but I mean, maces count as axes and Fire Emblem for weapon triangle purposes. I don't know why a Fire Emblem on the brain, as, barring some kind of miracle, it looks like they're gonna be able to take point B here.
We are actually seeing, yeah, rally coming through by Hex, and they are actually going to push them off of the point with a little bit of a reset here. That extra big shield on the Brigitte helping them a little more defensively. We still do have Maverick on the top left holding ground and keeping presence, and the beats are dropped by Floofy. We're looking to see Iliad come in here a bit more aggressively. Trade for trade going over here on the backside corner. Red X falls as McChicken is having a bit of an exchange with a Duck on Quack. A Duck on Quack back on point, firing the bolts into the Hex, and they are actually going to drop him down. Maverick finishing all of these members off of Kasa for a triple. Duck on Quack getting the last one there with Proven, and they are going to take that point finally.
Yeah, I like this. I like the Freya swap. Makes a lot of sense for this last point. All this vertical space he can control, and now look at how free Duck on Quack's angle is. There isn't really any, especially now that McChicken's off of the Vendetta. It's really hard to contest him up there. Echo is going to do her darndest, but it's so easy to get plucked out of the sky. Another
yeah, we are going to see the grab well coming through.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a beautiful rock stun into this.
Okay. The Sigma's working. Let's go. A little bit.
That was an incredible gravity ult into the rock, and that was just out of the sky. That was really well precisioned by Leo on the Sigma.
Nasty, yeah.
That was oof. That was nice. I really liked seeing that.
Kasa finally able to stem the bleeding, but now they're going to be fighting into a Kitsune rush. And you do not want to be Sigma on the other end of a Kitsune rush, especially with no support ults of your own. Really going to rely on the speed ring from Juno to disengage here.
Yeah, and that Diva ult is available.
I will also say the Levitate perk, good pick here against this composition, will really give Sigma a little bit more flexibility to disengage from the Vendetta.
We are seeing the Spirit Gate come out right now by Iliad. Maverick holding onto that ult as Paincares is coming online. Very low. Deadeye coming out from the corner, Proven, trying to use the cover, but is actually just cornered into the wall, getting really low, being pushed around by Maverick, not able to get anything off of it. No value from that Deadeye other than maybe to zone for just a moment. Painkare coming through with their own ultimate on Vendetta, just pushing Kasa back. Kasa needs to get on the point and stop that payload from moving forward. It is going to be a fight right here. The Maverick ult goes off, does actually manage to pick up Red X, and instead we're going to see McChicken here copy the Diva ult, look to try to get the ult charge here, and try to detonate in order to push the members of Iliad out. He just needs a couple more percentage, and then he can let it fly. And here it's going to go over the edge, looking to force the members of Iliad around. Doesn't get any pickups off of it, but they do stop the advancement of the payload for a time.
Yeah, only a minute 15 left. As much as it feels like Iliad's been rolling through this map, they haven't been winning fights super cleanly, so their time bank isn't that massive. Maverick, look at how he's able to contest the high ground here. You just can't do that with the Sigma, and I love playing Sigma. Protective Suzu comes out to neutralize the gravitic flux.
We're just seeing the, we're just seeing Proven roll around on the Cassidy, trying to get some damage chipped away at it. A rock right there, knocking out Maverick. Maverick getting low, almost knocked out of their robot. Stunned for a brief moment. They are knocked out, and that is going to be no machine for Maverick. Now on the retreat, the members of Kasa pushing up. Red X bringing down Maverick, and Proven for a double along with Red X for another one as well. One member remaining.
And they see 9.
They C9'd
Oh
off
my god,
the
that was
point.
I mean that was the scene. I mean that's what that was. That's I mean they were playing the fight, not the cart. Which is usually the right decision, but not when the cart is that close to the end of the map. Come on, Redix, you played OWCS, man. You can't be making these mistakes.
And
that's
with
not on
just
Redix, it was everybody.
ever so slight. Yeah, it was a duck on Quack, came over the wall on Freya as the members of Kasa pushed around the corner, and they just didn't see Freya jump over, and Freya moved it that last little bit. But this is not the first time that we have seen Kasa
Does this happen often?
C9, not necessarily often, but there have been times on maps with like Flashpoint where they're in the final battle of the point. It's overtime. Both teams are 99%, and they're going to get these finishing blows on the opposition. And for just a moment, somebody doesn't stay inside the point without them having gained like full control of it, and that last bit wears off, and they've lost not necessarily the match, but that point within the match. From things like that, but it's the first time we've witnessed it in terms of an escort situation, so definitely an unfortunate thing and a rare occurrence from them when it comes to escort.
Yeah, you just can't do that. Gonna be seeing another echo out here from McChicken, not gonna play the Vendetta. Cassidy for the side of Iliad. Gonna stick with the Red X Juno as well.
We have seen Juno a little more commonly. McChicken getting an early kill there on Paincare. We have seen Juno a little bit more recently being played by Kasa in these last few weeks. And it seemed to be working out a little bit better for them over their common Lucio Kiriko. But that obviously does depend on the map a little bit. McChicken picking up another kill here on Floomfy. The pressure is on Maverick on that hazard once again, but they're able to just get in after him. Leo now, his turn on Diva, chasing Maverick down and is putting the pressure on, looking to zone out the members of Iliad as they are going to take this first point comfortably.
Yeah, another point cap. That was even faster than Iliad's capture, but yeah, the Sigma on defense from Kasa like never really made sense to me, and I think playing the Diva on offense here really seems like it's what they should have done from the start. Still gonna be probably another fight away from major ults coming up. So.
We do see Floomfy swapping over to the Brigitte as well now to match Hex, so we're seeing a little bit more of a offensive push in terms of what a Brigitte is able to bring to the table, but it's not stopping McChicken's onslaught as he brings down Maverick, but a Duck on Quack does manage to prevent them any further on the Cassidy. Tries to get the stun up there on the Brigitte. Brigitte manages to knock the Cassidy back. It's a one-on-one exchange right now, trying to get these flicks back and forth on each other. Duck on Quack brings one down, but Leo knocks out Floomfy. Paincare exchanging for Hex. Leo for Duck Quack. It's a back and forth exchange between these two teams as they fight for the point. The ult is going off by Leo, doesn't pick anything up from it, but does get back into their mech. A little bit of a reset for him. We do have McChicken's ult ready to go, as well as the Deadeye. 3 ults up for Kasa, 2 for Iliad.
Yeah, now double support ults for Kasa. Rally doubles. There's gonna be a lot of ults popped in this next fight, buddy. We got 4 support ults coming up. Who's gonna go first and second and last? That is Kitsune Rushes from not Kitsune Rush, Orbital Ray. They almost do the same thing. It's so similar, but like...
We are seeing both support ults drop by Iliad. Yeah, and despite the double support ult coming out by Iliad, they actually get burned down in that exchange as we see only 2 ults used from Kasa. They are going to have very good ult uses there. The Deadeye comes out for zoning purposes as they try to take this final bit of the point. They use it to get Maverick out of the mech, finishes him off there. Painkare, though, actually dropping down, picking up a double on the Kasa with the ultimate, but it has not stopped Kasa's pressure of pushing up the point right now. McChicken still putting in a lot of work, taking out Maverick now, and it is now McChicken having to fall back by himself as the remaining members of his team have been taken out by Iliad.
Yeah, this could. I've seen many a team get held up at this point on Dorado.
Is it just that little bit of corner that teams have to work with, or is it the long angles?
I think part of it is honestly the distance from attacker spawn. Like when you get to this point, you almost have to win like 2 fights, like one on the way there and then one on park.
It's almost like you want to win a fight like just a little bit before the turn, and then you have just a little bit more space to work with from that reset. But right now we're seeing a very aggressive push in here by Maverick and the squad of Iliad, keeping Kasa at bay, not really letting them get back to the payload. McChicken is going to fall down to a Duck on Quack. Duck on Quack exchange here, but not before Proven wins the Cassidy 1v1, but does fall to Painkare afterwards. So it is still a bit of a back and forth between these two teams. The DPS falling down one after another on both sides. The tanks are keeping things rolling. Juno flying around to the backside to regroup, as it is going to still be Iliad keeping Kasa at bay.
Yeah, big, and able also to win that fight without really using any ults, just raw damage from a Duck on Quack winning the positioning battle. But now, Kitsune Rush online for Mardox. If he can get this off before the support ults come online for Kasa, that could be huge.
There is the Kitsune Rush coming through. Duck on Quack just got their Deadeye as they are keeping the members of Kasa at bay. We hear the Deadeye coming out from Proven. Doesn't get anything off of it. Not sure if they were able to get anybody zoned away, but they're actually going to get picked off on the backside before McChicken takes out Painkare. It's a 1-for-1 trade on both teams. The payload now back to being contested. Leo takes out a Duck on Quack. We're looking at Kasa pushing in here, trying to move them back, even if just through sheer force of will, and get the payload that last bit of the way there. It stopped 2 meters before contested. Fluent Feed getting copied by McChicken. Painkare pushing in. McChicken drops Maverick. Maverick takes out McChicken with the ultimate, and it is a Deadeye pop here, looking to get somebody eliminated from Kasa, but they are not going to get anything out of it other than a little bit of zoning and preventing them. It is less than a meter to go on the point. Kasa cannot get them off. Hex bringing up a double here on the Brigade. Proven taking out Floofy. Leo dropping Mardox. This could be the team kill wipe that they need to finally move the payload, and they do. They have it, and they are on to the last stretch.
Yep, gonna be rolling in with a minute 30 to go. Flumpy swapping, no, not swapping. Maverick gonna be going over to the Ramatra, looking to take fights on the ground, on high ground using the stairs. Able to get Leo so low. He's not got his ultimate yet though, so that's gonna be bye Leo.
Now it's going to be the tank gone for Kasa. They're going to be pushed out into a 4v5 as actually 3v5 as Proven fell as well. So Kasa's going to have to just kind of take a moment, regroup, let everybody come back before they can make a good push in again. But they have less than a minute to go, and they've still got half the distance to push.
Yep, as long as they don't C9 on offense as well. Leo, interesting here. Leo playing the low ground, Maverick on the high ground, just trying to get as many meters as possible before just basically trying to make Maverick drop onto cart. Kitsune Rush, though, now popped by Marduk, but they lose Painkare in the process.
A nice shielding there by Floomfy, preventing the ultimate going off from Leo, but Leo does get back into their mech with reset. Hex drops Maverick. Floomfy takes out Proven. Little bit of a back and forth here, but the tank is down for Iliad, they just did come up respawn, but not before Mardox went down. Red X with a nice double kill here. They're going to look to push in and keep them pressured at spawn and try to force them out of the point, as they just need to move 4 meters to end this game. It is in overtime, so the winner of this fight is going to win the match. As of right now, we have Proven trying to come back on the castle with McChicken, and Proven are going crazy. Proven does get a pick off on Maverick, and they do get the round complete. They wipe out Iliad there at the end, and it is going to be an overtime exchange for this second game.
Yeah, with how fast the point A caps were for both sides, I could see this being a pretty funky overtime. Hottie theory potentially coming into play here with the team that has less time and goes first ends up winning. But we shall see. Assuming Leah is going to be sticking with the Diva, I do wonder if perhaps Red X could get more out of the Kiriko than the Juno, especially in this overtime round situation where being able to prevent just one of your DPS from dying or your support from dying with that Suzu can be the difference between pushing the cart and running out of time.
That's definitely an option for them. I think what they might be going for here, because we saw it just briefly at the end of that last round, is it looks like Red X is primarily using Juno's gates to speed up McChicken's flight and allowing McChicken to fly around and get a lot of different angles and repositioning in a very aggressive manner, which might be what they're looking to do here in terms of their high angles, as we're seeing very quickly coming out the gate, Leo jumping straight around the corner on the Diva, trying to push Paincare back on that Vendetta, and it's a very quick start for Kasa here, trying to prevent Iliad from getting into position.
Yeah, they're gonna let the cart basically go to the bridge. Leo's able to do, and they lose Proven. That's not ideal. Yeah, Leo really is the one who can kind of define the rules of engagement on Diva. Unfortunately, they lose Proven before he can really mount a push. But
unfortunately, they do have a little bit of time, and they really just have to maintain being on point once that time does run out. So losing Proven before that point, not as hurtful, but definitely not ideal. But now they're in a situation with the overtime. They don't want to lose anybody, as any sort of time off the point is detrimental to them, as we almost see the overtime time run out there, but it does get reset back up. If Mardox having to back off a little bit, Paincare does drop Proven. We are seeing the mech being destroyed, and very quickly we're going to see Iliad just eliminate Kasa in a rapid fashion, completely obliterating them off of the point in that tiny choke, and that is going to be a very quick overtime for Iliad.
Yep, just erase that time back. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna C9. I could just feel it, and then they didn't. But it got pretty dicey there for a second. Yeah, I think when you're playing the Diva there, so much of the success of your attack comes down on your ability to go first, and it really seemed like once they lost Proven, they weren't able to reestablish kind of a consistent footing, a consistent tempo. Is Leo gonna play the Sigma again on defense? Oh boy, I don't like this. Sigma into Ram, and I say this as somebody who likes to play Sigma, is so not fun. Like, it can just be so easy. It's gonna be really hard for Leo to avoid getting just run down by Ram and Vendetta.
Yeah, I mean, Ram is able to take a much more aggressive stance, and since when Ram goes into his brawl state, part of your kit on Sigma becomes irrelevant in that exchange between tanks, since you're not using projectiles. Really, you're just punching at them. But I think they're really just looking to get being able to angle a little bit and try to get some range CC. But they're just being very quickly pressured, and the wall is already down for the Sigma, and It's a little slow going as they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna let him get around to this tunnel, but they can't let him get to the same point, so they gotta
Yeah,
stop
I
him
mean,
soon.
you know you're gonna have to drop down and fight on card eventually, and if you do that, you're gonna lose if you're playing Sig Echo into Ram Vendetta. Look at that, they're already only 3 meters away from victory. Proven having to shoot for his life on defense here.
And it's just a lot more zoning capability with that Ram being able to put down that field in the backline.
Oh,
But
they
Leo
get the
does get the
care.
better of Pain Care, and that is going to help them out tremendously right now to give them a moment and reassess position and give the stoppage for the round as 20 seconds remain. And this is going to be an overtime push for Iliad as well.
Yeah, Pain Care was somewhere in the backline, and Leo able to pick him off on Sigma there. They
Oh, big exchange right there. Duck on Quack taking out McChicken.
the sky.
Proven does manage to get Duck on Quack.
Yeah, 4v4. Oop. Gotta stay on the cart.
A little bit of a stalemate right now. Both teams waiting for somebody to move out of position, and there it goes. The gravity well is up. They have the teams caught. They drop them down. The Deadeye is out.
Maverick
Nobody
is so low, but
picks
they
up.
take
But
out
Duck on Quack takes out Proven. Oh my!
If Maverick can stay alive to get his ultimate, he might be able to wipe the rest of Kasa off card. Sound barrier and annihilation coming through. That's gonna be it. 2 big circles wipe out Kasa, and we are tied up 1-1.
Yeah, that was a really close finish at the end there, but Duck on Quack managing to get that elimination there in the overtime to give them the number advantage was really what they needed to push them over. And here we're actually going to see the play of the game being that overtime moment where they were just completely wiped out Kasa off the point. And so that is an understandable play of the game. That was, you know, how they just took them out so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they did just kind of all press Q at the same time, but hey,
Yep.
that's...
That's the game sometimes. Sometimes that's the game.
Who was the streamer that was ranting about like attacker's advantage or something? Was that Derpy? I don't remember. But we are going to be heading into map 3, and that is going to be, I believe, Suravasa is where we're going to be headed. Kasa picking this map, wanting to play Zarya Brawl again with Vendetta.
Suravasa is a map that they have been liking for their Flashpoint options originally before the break. So since the break, the Christmas break, there has been multiple member exchange for Kasa, but before the break, I believe their lineup had a little bit more favoritism towards New Junk City for their Flashpoint, as that was where we typically saw them voting to go for when it came to the Flashpoint map. But since the break, they have exclusively been on Suravasa when it has come up, and so they're definitely feeling a little bit comfortable there. Every time they've been on this map, it's gone to 5 points so far. It's typically been their elimination map that they've been on. It's a lot of the times been kind of either the game 4 or game 5 map, and sometimes they just don't have enough gas left in them for it, and they end up having a tough time in the exchange for it. So it's nice to see them get on this map a little earlier on when their legs are a little more fresh.
So Wu Yang Ban coming through from Kasa. Now Iliad going to be able to ban something of their own. Obviously can't ban the Zarya. I do wonder if we're going to see a Vendetta ban. That could potentially be very advantageous for Iliad. Get McChicken off of that hero.
Not only get McChicken off of that hero specifically, but you know, it would also get. I don't necessarily think Kasa would be opposed to it. While it would get McChicken off of it, Pain Care has been kind of a menace to Kasa in exchange as well on the Vendetta. So, you know, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing for Kasa. But it definitely would not be ideal, as this map in particular is one that we have most commonly seen them actually play Vendetta on. I think it is a map that he likes to play Vendetta into very frequently when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I can't see what the other hero ban is on FACEIT. I saw the Wu Yang ban and then just nothing. So I I got no kind of analysis for you, unfortunately. Um,
That's all right. But in terms of the tanks, what kind of tank setup do you think you'd like to see in this exchange right now? Versus,
yeah.
you're not a fan. Understand you're not a fan of the Sigma play. Is that
Oh,
usually
here's the thing.
just for
I
specifically on that escort and what they're
Yeah, like
into, or just
I love watching Sigma play. Ask CB about that. She can attest that I will never shut up about how much I love Sigma. But sometimes you're just kind of fitting a square peg into a round hole. The Sigma was not really able to get much done for Kasa on Dorado. I think going back to the Zarya look. Okay, you lost the Zarya ban. Now you can get back on the Zarya. Sojourn ban is what we got from the side of Kasa. So Wu Yang ban um, from Kasa and Sojourn ban from Iliad. The Wu Yang ban is really interesting. That feels like a protect ban because we didn't really see any Wu Yang on the first two maps. Um, and it's actually going to be okay. So it looks like we're actually going to have Amadou coming in, uh, swapping out for a duck on Quack. So Amadou, I mostly associate him with Widowmaker and Sojourn, admittedly. Um, but a swap out at hit scan for Iliad. So what are we gonna see? What is he into play? Maybe Sombra? Maybe I don't know. Something. Oh boy. It's late, y'all. I'm like my eyes are starting to like get woozy. Um this is great. We're chill.
these matches do tend to happen a little bit on the later side for people,
Oh my god,
particularly
they're
in the
so late.
EU. But
Dude.
EST, it's later in the evening for EST. But if you're a PST user, this is prime time for you. So you're smack dab
Yeah.
in the middle of it. You might be sitting there with your TV dinner, having maybe
Yeah, but like
whatever you picked up from the
The West
store, and you're just
Coast is who cares about the West Coast? I mean, that's West Coast less coast. I'll work on it. But Iliad just getting the remainder of their roster into the lobby. Um, no Sojourn is gonna be fun. Um, Sometimes I get kind of sick of Sojourn. I feel like she's just been perma meta um, since like I don't know the end of 2023, basically.
pretty much since she's been around, she's just kind of been like, even when she wasn't like super strong, it's just her. The kit is one of those things where it's like
It's
you
just
were
so
saying about
splashable. Yeah.
it's like you were saying with Hanzo before, is that even when he necessarily hasn't been meta, he hasn't been bad or anything like that, and it's Sojourn's just either been good or just incredibly meta because of the way the kit works. You have this rapid firing rifle that is effective at range, but then you're able to just railgun people for a lot of damage, at the click of a button with your right click, and it applies so much pressure and so much instant kill potential for finishing targets off that maybe some other characters just don't really have at their disposal.
Yeah, and she's really versatile. Um, I like the fact that both hit scans have initially selected Bastion. I doubt they're actually gonna play him, unless there's been some weird meta trends in North America that I'm unaware of. But Leo, I believe, yes, going to be running the Zarya again. Um, I don't expect that Orisa to stay, but we'll see. Unless they are actually going to both roll out on Bastion. One. Yup, they're sticking with it. All right, Bastion mirror. That's cool. Um,
That's definitely a rarity, as well as the Orisa. We have rarely seen Orisa as well. It's actually been really interesting watching Iliad as they've been playing tanks that have been less common for us to witness, and proven there with an early kill on the Bastion exchange, getting that advantage early on, and that's going to be a nice setup for Kasa, but not before Painkare takes out McChicken in the Vendetta exchange. So far we've had a mirror matchup, kill for kill, on both sides to start things off, as it is looking like Kasa will take position on the point first.
Yeah, the biggest difference here, right, is that all else being equal, Zarya is going to be more effective at protecting the Bastion, but not when you've got Amadou laser focused on Proven like that. That's going to be 2 kills on the Bastion. Is this a thing? Is this like a thing in NA that people play Bastion on Flashpoint when Sojourn's banned? Or is this like, was there an agreement made? Like, is this targeted at me? Is this like a new caster hazing ritual?
You know,
Yeah.
this is definitely an experience for me as well right now, because in all the time that we've been watching Kasa, I don't think we've ever seen them on a Bastion. So, you know, this is definitely a bit of a goofy situation. Proven, so far, it has been a back and forth of these Bastions. Proven took out Amadou, then Amadou took out Proven. Proven took out Amadou again. It's just a little bit of a back and forth for these Bastions, as each time the fight shifts. And right now, Kasa is just trying to get more percentage advantage while they can, as we're looking at Iliad pushing in aggressively, wrapping around, looking to come in from the main door, and look to force Kasa off once again.
Yeah, I will say, ooh, Maverick with the grab E onto Leo. Bastion ult now coming through, able to get a lot of space, and that is going to be the rest of Kasa wiped off of the point.
Not before Proven can get his payback once more on Amadou, though. He's making sure.
One thing I will say is, as much as we saw Javelin Spin get a ton of value there by eating the Zarya grab, I do think once Maverick is able to get his perks online, I actually do think the Orisa starts to get better into the Bastion.
Are you thinking that we'll see Amadou once again picking up Proven here? The beats are dropped. It's wearing out right now. The shield,
that's
yeah.
What I was expecting, yeah. But Leo able to burn down the backline of Iliad. How did Maverick was off in Narnia. Okay.
He was off having a time with McChicken, but McChicken was, you know, serving him up, having his own time, having his own way, carving Orisa out and cutting her legs.
Do you think if McChicken ever makes OWCS, they'll make him change his name for copyright purposes?
You know, that is definitely something that you might have to think about, but it might not be. He might just go back to, you know, he has, I would imagine, a name that he could swap to, as he, on the roster, goes by Skinny Legend, but that is not his in-game name. So that might be what he would default to in that situation. But for right now, he's rocking the McChicken.
I don't think we commented on that, but
huge double ulti by McChicken there, dropping down the Sunring Blade into a triple kill, finishing off Painkare. Hex dropping Maverick, and that is going to be a almost full wipeout for Kasa here as they take control of the point. And McChicken's looking to not let the Lucio get away for 4 kills by McChicken. Great start to that point take.
There is something really satisfying about landing the Vendetta overhead slash perfectly. It's just like execution. But yeah, Proven now and Amadou both gonna have these dueling Bastion ultimates, as well as a Graviton Surge from Leo just over the horizon. Amadou going first, able to eliminate McChicken with Maverick. Original comes out from Proven though. That was a kind of thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, nothing big off that ult. Maybe could have been able to team it up with the Grav well if they had waited, but, you know, Leo's going to hold on to it. They're not going to bother burning it, as they knew both their DPS were down in that exchange, but they do have the Grav well ready for this next time when they come back to point.
Yeah, this Graviton Surge got... Graviton Surge got absorbed by Javelin Spin the last time. Kitsune Rush popped by Mardox. A grab, ooh, like that grab onto the wall so it can't get eaten. Leo able to kill Floomfy, but then everyone dies anyway. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what happened. I was focused on the grab.
It was a three kill exchange for Iliad, but Leo's turning it around, bringing it through.
Leo able to clutch that out from, like, what was that, like a 2v4?
A little bit, but it wasn't enough to get control of the point. But now he's going to come running in on the Zarya with a full charge, trying to take him down and get position here on the point. He's really low. He needs to be careful. He's going to be saved by his team as Kasa is following up to regroup with him. McChicken picking up Amadou. Leo dropping pain care. They have a 3v5 advantage now, and they are pushing Iliad back.
You're winning the battle, and eventually, with some time, winning the war. McChicken trying to go in deep. Iliad, Kasa really wants to try and win this point without another fight, and they're gonna get it. Up now 2-0 on Suravasa as we head to Flashpoint numero tres. I was about to say trois, but that's French. Another bail up for Pain Care. This got a lot of value last time.
This would be a really great Suravasa game for Kasa if they could 3-0 the control on this map. Since that would be something that they've had a difficult time with in terms of closing out the map. Usually they're the ones trying to come back on this objective. And so for the, they're getting to be in the position of control here. We're looking at another chance. McChicken dropping down the blade once more on Pain Care. And that is going to be a nice kill pickup. Leo finishing out Amadou. Kasa not relenting, keeping the pressure rolling. McChicken taking out Maverick, knocking him off the map. And there goes the rest of the team as they are going to jump off to reset.
Yeah, this happened on the previous point too, where McChicken used that Sundering Blade ultimate into Pain Care's Blizzard, basically taking advantage of the fact that Pain Care has to be a little bit stationary while using it in order to get a lot of value. There's a combo of
oh, beautiful four-piece ultimate by Proven.
Artillery into the grab. Oh my god. They're all dead.
That's what we wanted to see.
All of them.
McChicken finishing off Pain Care there to give it a team kill, but incredible combination. That's what we were talking about. He dropped the artillery
for the next fight.
Just such huge value for Kasa there. There is a pause, but that gives us a moment to talk about it. But that goes back to where Proven used that artillery previously by himself and got nothing out of it. It was just kind of wasted, but he had Leo's Gravwell available. But this time around, we got to see Leo tee it up with the Gravwell in a tight room. All of the team came rolling through from Iliad, and it was just a wipe.
That was brutal. That was like that combo is one that you can't you can't do every single time, but it's almost like you only get to use it once, right?
We are just watching Kasa take such dominating presence on this point as they take out members of Iliad one after another here in this overtime. And that is going to be a very quick 3-0 Suravasa. Game 3 favored to them, and they are going to go up 2-1 in this series.
Yeah, match point acquired for Kasa Esports. Yeah, let's watch it. Let's just watch the Bastion thing. Let's just enjoy it. Oh! Okay, there we go. Beautiful. Oh, it's just beautiful. Yeah, that was executed perfectly. That's the thing, right, is you can't do that combo every single time because it ends up becoming a little bit too predictable. But if you save it for the right opportunity, bide your time, right? Like, wait. Eventually, you'll be able to get it done.
And they got, not only did they get the wipeout there in it for the advantage of what it was, and they were able to save their own defensive ultimates, they also burned the defensive ultimates of Iliad there. They had dropped the beats in that exchange as well to try and save the damage, but, there's no saving it through 3 artillery rounds.
You just get boomed. Anyway, we're going to be heading into map 3, which is going to be Runa Sapi, selected by Iliad. So, bans that are available. They already banned Diva, already banned Zarya. Vendetta ban still on the table. looks well, hero does I think player selection looks like player selection actually comes after hero bans in FACEIT League. Um, so whether Amadu's going to stay in or not, if he's just the Bastion specialist, which that's fire, dude. I'd love to be a Bastion specialist. Okay, it's going to be a Tracer ban for Iliad Artemis. A little weird because we haven't seen much Tracer in this series so far, but could be a bit of a protect ban. As we wait to see what the next ban is going to be, which, because of how the FACEIT site works, won't be until after the lineups get submitted.
But they
Yeah,
are
that
going to ruin
third round was
Asapi.
wild. Leo went 26-2, so
Leo went crazy. I mean, we saw the one fight where it looked like he started off with a kill, then three members of his team got wiped out, but then he went on a multi-kill streak by himself and just kind of managed to reestablish position on the point as his team was respawning. It was just Leo was feeling himself a little bit after getting his first grab well absorbed. He wasn't a fan and said, "You know what? We're gonna do something about this."
yeah. I mean, Zarya still on the table. I think, I was not super familiar with Leo. Like, I'm aware of him, but mainly that's because of World Cup scouting, because I just was aware that he was potentially going to play for Team Philippines. But Zarya is the hero that I had seen him most associated with, and now I am seeing why. Ramaka banned on the side of, or banned from the side of Kasa, as it's going. Okay, Amadou staying in. More Bastion, maybe. I thought Amadou's Bastion was like really good, or looked really good on the first couple points. I think the main difference was the was the Zarya versus the Orisa.
I would have to agree. It looked like he was getting really good value out of his Bastion gameplay initially, but after that, like about halfway through the second point, it just seemed to be a very distinct momentum shift for Kasa, and they were just making significantly better use. It just seemed like McChicken really was just kind of getting into the backline and just taking people out, and it kind of prevented the ability for Amadou to play a little more aggressively on on the Bastion, and it wasn't working out for them as well. He didn't have as much protection. Maverick was getting off caught into 1v1s with McChicken, and that kind of left Amadou on a Bastion, a little defenseless, not really able to have that protection they need while being in turret mode per se.
Proven is staying on the Bastion. Amadou over to the Sojourn, Pain Care on the Pharah. Pharah versus Bastion is interesting. Oh my god. Okay, so Amadou takes out Red X. Meanwhile, McChicken is trying to fight Pain Care in the sky. But Amadou gets another kill there onto Proven in a 3v3 situation now.
And despite everything, it looked for a moment like Leo was pulling it off again, eliminating players from Iliad, but too many members of his squad had been wiped out, and he was all by himself as Iliad just collapsed on him there to reset Kasa back, and they are going to move this objective for the first time.
Yeah, McChicken now over to the Echo, wants to pressure that Orisa from above with the sticky bombs, and especially that focusing beam, which is really, really able to burn down Orisa once you use her javelin spin.
This Pharah playing inside the house. McChicken taking out Amadou, though, now on the Echo, off the Vendetta already, into a second kill against Paincare, and immediately getting high value out of that Echo change. A third kill for McChicken on Marduk's Red X, finishing off Maverick there, and it is going to be a full wipeout for Kasa as McChicken picks up their fourth kill after swapping to the Echo, dropping Flumphy last, and they are going to turn this robot right back around and make their way into the side of Iliad.
Yeah, great adjustment there from McChicken over swapping over to the Echo. Proven's artillery configuration artillery, the first ultimate to come online. Um, those support ults available for either side. Mardox's Kitsune Rush is going to be the first one.
And we are seeing a Kitsune Rush from the backside on Kasa as they try to push in on them. We are going to see the artillery come out as well, not get anything outside of zoning them out, but McChicken does drop Maverick. Amadou drops McChicken, but Leo takes him out in exchange, and it's going to be Kasa taking down the members of Iliad in a very quick fashion. Hex and Leo finishing off the supports, and that is going to be Kasa continuing to move forward, not really losing any momentum.
Yeah, really well done there. Proven using his Bastion ult to partially neutralize the Kitsune Rush, forcing Mardox and Amadou to move out of the area of effect. And once that Kitsune Rush is close to expiring, Red X pops his, and it's go, go, go.
It's interesting to see, like, we have this map with a lot longer angles, but it doesn't really seem like they're making use of it, as we see Farah pop the ultimate inside the room, but doesn't get anything out of it. Fluenfy drops Leo, but not before the remaining members of Kasa eliminate everybody else on Iliad in a quick 1-2-3 fashion, as Kasa is just steadily moving their way up this map into the final stretch. Which is a long, long doorway for Iliad to defend from.
Yeah, they are going to be forced to beat a hasty retreat, losing their Bastion. But the good thing is, they have like a, what is that, like an 80-meter lead? Not insurmountable, but big enough that if so wants, they can kind of just start draining this time bank instead of necessarily pushing for a win by capturing.
Yeah, they definitely don't need to force the win. They can definitely just bite it out. But we've seen Kasa have these close calls before, and here comes the artillery once more, looking to get somebody on the backside. The grab well came out behind them, but they weren't able to get anybody with that grab well. They tried to back them into the grab well, into the artillery, not getting anything out of it. But immediately we see Proven pushing up in that turret form, picking up a double kill now, dropping both the supports, so nobody alive to keep the members of Iliad up, and they are going to fall to McChicken and Leo. Red X 1-2-3 for a team kill. You know, we said they didn't need to do this, but they're doing it.
So I just want to quickly recap what happened in that fight. Leo missed his grav. Hex hit a 3-man sound barrier. Maverick Terra Surge nothing, and Kasa still won the fight. Oh, Proven takes out Amadou early. This could be it. Amadou, even though he had... Oh, Mardox dies with Kitsune Rush as well. That could be curtains for Iliad. Kasa only a couple meters away. Marty forced to use Kitsune Rush just to... Mardox forced to use Kitsune Rush just to get back on point. The combination of those two ultimates is going to be enough for Iliad to avoid this map ending early. They have nothing in the bank for this next fight. Meanwhile, McChicken is close to a duplicate, and Red X's Kitsune Rush, I know he's only at 50%, that's going to be here quicker than you think.
Yeah, I mean, we just witnessed basically the last breath of defense for Iliad there, just final stopping point, and immediately here goes Proven into turret form, trying to take out the members of Iliad that are flanking around. They're going to see Echo here, almost finishing off Vendetta. Paincare does fall eventually, but not before Maverick takes out Red X, so that's a support down on the side of Kasa. So they have a little bit of sustainability taken away from their team at the moment, as Maverick drops McChicken now. 2-piece picked up for Maverick, falling back. Amadou takes out Proven, and so this is slowly going to be Kasa bleeding out right now as Fluenfly drops Leo. And we are seeing a little bit of a foothold retained for Iliad right now, as they are going to finally get back to moving the payload forward.
Yeah, the big question now is Kasa going to try and contest before Iliad get the checkpoint? Looks like not. They are going to let them have that checkpoint and the forward spawn. So this does change things, right? Forward spawn now, it's going to be a lot easier for Iliad to push aggressively and try and build up their meterage.
are going to see
Grab.
Pancare get copied by McChicken. The gravity out there. Leo dropping Maverick. And it is going to be still a favorable exchange for Iliad here. Floomfy and Pancare picking up one apiece, but their payload is being advanced by Kasa still, despite the number advantage.
Yeah, Floomfy now having a sound barrier, both sound barriers, in fact, available. That's going to be a 4-man beat, potentially earlier. I like Hexus better. Pancare solo able to get healed up by Bardox's Kitsune Rush, who now goes very low himself. Sav, look at this. They're able to flip it around.
They are. There's a huge ultimate there by Amadou and, dropping Leo, but not before Maverick took out Redex. Redex had got their Spirit Rush up, but didn't pop it and actually fell while holding on to it. So they're going to have that now for the next fight, but Maverick will have their Gravwell available to tie in with Paincare's Vendetta Sundering Blade. So, we're seeing a little bit of a momentum shift. But we're at that point where Kasa really just needs to stop them, and they can hold it off. The Sundering Blade comes out. He does get a solo ult off on Proven. Proven goes down, so that is an offensive member taken away. Mardox with a double kill here, dropping Redex and McChicken. Maverick taking out Leo. We are seeing right now the members of Iliad fully shifting the momentum. They get a team kill here as they're now going to move into the final stretch on this map, and Kasa is going to have to make a last-minute stop.
Yeah, I had a feeling after that last fight that things were gonna turn the other way around for, Iliad. This is big. This could be a very decisive fight, not just for the map, but for this series coming up. Redex's Kitsune Rush expires. No ults. This is gonna be a bit of a dry fight until that artillery comes online.
Yeah, instead of fighting that exchange, we just see the members of Iliad completely fall back around the corner, out of sight as that Spirit Rush. They pretty much get no value out of it other than just simply stopping the advancement of the robot. They were not able to pick up any kills off of it despite rushing through it to try and find a target.
Yeah. Pretty early Suzu there. Now here comes the artillery form right when Suzu's gone. Oh, just barely misses the kill onto Amadou. Now McChicken copying the Sojourn. Able to get his overclock up and going already.
We do see Leo take out Maverick, but Mardox comes through. Floopy with the beats dropped. All the ults are being dropped. Amadou takes out Redex. The members of Kasa are falling slowly here. McChicken did copy.
That's it. What a comeback. We're going to map 5.
Wow, that is an incredible finish by Iliad there to turn that around. And yeah, forcing that game 5, which now is going to be whatever map they want. It's going to be whatever Kasa wants to pick.
Yeah. It's a bit of a joke. That was rough. Not gonna lie. That was pretty bad. Hybrid, the last map type available. Blizzard World, Kings Row, or Midtown available. Or, oh wait, no, it's different because it's the hybrid. Okay, so they can pick any map type. I forgot how it's
Correct.
different.
Yeah, we just learned that the other night because it's been a rare occurrence.
League, why do you have different rules?
It's been a very rare occurrence, and it happened for the first time last night when the game 5 or the other night, and it was Ilios, and we were like, wait a minute, we're going back to control. Okay. Yeah, so game 5, they get to pick whatever map they want. But, I do think a King's Row is possible. Because that is a map that Kasa has been vibing with recently. But, yeah, ultimately they can go with whatever they want. That is such an unfortunate situation, though, with that push map. They were doing so well. They had so much momentum. And hopefully that doesn't take any of the wind out of their sails overall in this exchange. It would be really unfortunate for them to see a reverse sweep here. That would definitely be a pretty hefty blow for them in this matchup.
Yeah, so Kasa bringing us to King's Row and banning Diva. Now it's Iliad's turn to ban any hero that they want. Could it be a Kiriko ban? Maybe a Juno ban? Vendetta ban? Echo ban? I don't know. I think an Echo ban could potentially work out well for them. But we shall see. Looks like it's going to probably be okay. May. Okay, so Kasa bans the Diva, and Iliad responds with a May ban. Fascinating stuff. And it looks like it's going to be, yeah, so Painkare staying in. No subs from the side of Kasa. So it was a Duck on Quack playing the first two maps, Amadou playing out the rest of the series. I don't know if that's a tactical thing or maybe it's an availability thing. It's hard to tell with FACEIT teams sometimes whether things are tactical or just someone has to go to bed early because they have to wake up for school the next day or something like that, you know?
Yeah, the May ban is interesting there because that's definitely something Casa has used previously with this map in order to get, aggressive starts out around the corner on this map and walling off, the enemy tank quickly to try and get that quick kill and take control early, really, on this point. That's usually the tough part with these hybrid maps is this initial push because it's just, one main choke.
Yeah, and just to again kind of establish the stakes a little bit here, Iliad sits at 5 and 6. Kasa sits at 3 and 8. Um, I don't know the math exactly, but if Kasa lose here, um, that does a really big blow to their admittedly slim chances of making playoffs. Um, would mean that the maximum number of wins they could end up with would be 6. Um, 6 and 9. You need a lot to go your way to make playoffs with that. So going to be basically mirror compositions here. Back to basically what we started on the first map with the Hazard versus the Zarya, and otherwise the same. McChicken taking an early fight, getting his head taken off by Amadou in the process.
Yeah, unfortunate start early on for Casa. They're going to have to regroup a little bit already as they're going to try to get around this corner, but to no avail. That Zarya just having to wait for McChicken to come back. We see Painkare on the Vendetta as well. It's just a bit of a back and forth exchange. Both teams trying to feel each other out. Amadou once again taking out another DPS on Casa's side, dropping Proven. Flumpy dropping McChicken, both DPS down for Casa. They're going to have to fully back out and regroup here.
Yeah, it seems like since he swapped onto the Sojourn, Amadou has just... He's been lobby admin a little bit, and particularly in the last map, he really was getting the better of Proven in that hit scan battle, Sojourn versus Bastion for Mercy Lab.
And I think right now we're really just trying to see McChicken, I think, is just trying to get value on the Vendetta of being able to get into the backside so quickly and aggressively as we see this fight take place up in the back alleys of King's Row as Proven does get the better of Mardox, taking him out as both supports are down, and McChicken's going to come through with a double kill, taking out Amadou as well, and this is going to be the push that Casa needs, getting a team kill, and they're going to be able to take this point, assuming that Iliad is not able to get back at all to contest it.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny how that works, right? It seems like a minute, like, Amadou is just killing everybody, and then one team fight later, 4.5 minutes on the time bank for point B.
And very aggressive push back in here, and Amadou popping the ult and is going to pick up a quick kill on the members of Casa, picking up 3 right there as Painkare gets 1 as well. And so they are going to clean Casa up, but, it's at the point where Casa is pretty much spawning, so it's not really any time lost for Casa other than just getting the starting of the payload going, but they are going to have some pressure put on them with the positioning of Iliad right now.
Yeah, I like this long rotation, though it doesn't quite work as well when the cart is not past the gate. The cart is barely moved at all. Maverick gonna go down though. Leo able to establish dominance of sorts in the tank there. And that long rotation able to get Kasa out of spawn.
Not only get him out of spawn, but just get him a full wipe. So they're definitely going to be able to move this payload up uncontested a little bit now. And this is the crazy thing with King's Row is that the distance that this vehicle actually moves is so much shorter than you would think. And this second point comes up so much faster than what people would normally expect.
Yeah, that's why some people say King's Row point B, most of it's just cosmetic. Um, Leo stuck inside the pub, pops a grab, loses his life in the process. They are able to get rid of Amadou though, but Floofy comes in with the sound barrier, able to keep his team alive, and that is going to be Iliad wiping the floor with Kasa reestablishing their defensive position. Maverick getting on high ground, showing that he is stable by this Kasa.
And that was a bit of an ult exchange on both sides. 3 ults looked to be to have been burned there. Maybe 2 from Kasa specifically, but McChicken did use theirs for a solo kill. So a little bit of a little bit of an ult exchange on both sides. We still have 1 apiece available between the 2 teams. Maverick having theirs, but Amadou falls to Leo's DPS down, as we are going to see Mardox take out McChicken. It's still a bit of a back and forth. Kasa trying to get some momentum moving here on this point, but Maverick is just jumping around on this on Hazard, just being a bit of a menace. Proven takes out Mardox, but Maverick takes Proven out in that exchange. Maverick going for the double here, cornering the members of Kasa, not letting them get control, and Maverick is on a tear, being an absolute thorn in the sides of Kasa, and is just pinning everybody back and forth. McChicken finally bringing him down with a double kill.
Yeah, but that is already 3 minutes burned off of the time bank by Iliad on this defense. Dune Rush now available for Red X. This is going to be the ultimate they're going to look to use to win this fight and capture point B.
And we are going to see the Kitsune Rush come out by Red X as they get very low. The members of Kasa looking to push back in around the corner. A couple members of Iliad going around the backside, taking an off angle. Members of Kasa, Amadou gets the better of Proven, looking to push in. Members of Kasa falling back around the corner, but Maverick is in hot pursuit with Pain Care, trapping Leo over on the other side of the map, and Floomfy's going to finish him off. McChicken drops Mardox, but Amadou is going to get that revenge kill, and they're going to push Kasa back to spawn.
Yeah, only 45 seconds left. Kasa has time for basically in final fight territory of this point B. Part where it is right now, this is, like I said before, the Dorado, this is a spot where a lot of teams get stalled out, is right before that last corner.
It's almost a quicker return, if not is a quicker return for the defending side at this payload point. So if a fight gets drawn out, the gravity well dropped, but we are going to see the beats come out in order to defend. Leo falls in exchange for Pain Care, and it is still going to be 4v4, but there is no tank for Kasa at this time. So it's going to be a bit tough for them to push in, as Maverick is still able to just be very aggressive on the front of this match.
Yeah, Leo coming back on the Doomfist. They are able to get rid of Amadou, who himself came back on the Tracer. Sojourner popped by Proven. He wants to get a lot of pressure off, and it looks like Kasa might just be able to do it, able to get 3 kills. And they are, yeah, they're going to do it. The overtime recontest is successful. Kasa cap point B.
Nice push for Kasa there. That was, I was definitely concerned. The pressure was on. They didn't have a tank there, but the DPS came through in the clutch. Proven really putting in some work there on Sojourn, getting low, having to fall out, but they got some really nice kills in order to get Kasa into position to take that point and give them that extra minute and a half to try and move the payload a little bit further, if not all the way.
Yeah, Leo having to swap over to Doomfist though there does mean he has to reset his Zarya charge, or his Zarya ultimate charge. McChicken gets the better of Pain Care though.
Both teams just slowly feeling each other out right now. This one corner, the final turn of the map, And it's just a little bit of a back and forth. Both teams just poking and prodding at each other, getting their ult charge up. The Kitsune Rush comes out on both sides. Maverick has their ult as well. The Thorns are coming out, and they're going to try to trap people in. Red X takes out Maverick. Maverick takes out Red X. Proven gets Floofy. Painkiller picks off Proven, and it's just a back and forth slaughter for both teams. Painkiller finally going to get the first double kill of the match, taking out McChicken, and this is going to be advantage to Iliad, as they are going to get a triple kill for Painkiller to take Kasa off the point, and that is going to be the timeout, and Painkiller holding on to that ultimate for the final kill to not let Hux touch.
Yeah, so this is very, very winnable now for Iliad, able to potentially claw this series back after going down 2-1 entering map 4. I think the sound barrier usage from Hex has not it's not been super great all series. I think on that offense push, aside from the final fight of point B, was not excellent. I think you could be getting more value out of that, but yeah.
We are looking at still the same lineup coming out for Kasa here on defense as well. Same offensive lineup for Iliad also. So both teams just firing right back into it with their same lineups.
Yep. Maverick sticking on the Hazard. The hero very befitting of his name. Or of his gamer tag.
You know, the interesting thing, the thing I think we're seeing some value out of with Maverick on this Hazard is whenever Red X pops that, you know, Kitsune Rush, he's able to just kind of stop people in their tracks with it, and they're going to immediately see Leo get walled off by Maverick and drop down immediately. Amadou getting that first kill of the game, but McChicken exchanging it for Painkiller. So while that is a DPS kill on the side of Kasa, they lose their tank. And so now they're going to need to wait for Leo to get back to reinforce them, as Iliad is being very aggressive and trying to take position early on here, getting a third of the way charged onto that point.
Yeah, I mean, Zarya is, you know, almost completely immobile. If you get walled off like that, there isn't really much.
Marduk's dropping Leo. Yep. The members of Iliad just taking him out one after another, and that is going to be point to Iliad.
Yeah, you hate to see it if you're Leo. Leo now going over to the Sigma. Interesting. I guess swapping one immobile tank for another. Sigma didn't go super well. On Dorado, as we saw, but I think a better matchup into the Hazard than into the Ramattra.
Into the Ramattra and even at times the Diva, but Painkiller is still being really aggressive and has been getting the better of McChicken so far. Leo managing to take out Amadou. I almost feel like they're going to Sigma for the flexibility of where he can place that shield, just to provide a little bit of protection from the just terror that Amadou has been on their backline.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, Zav. I wonder if he went Sigma because it's just a comfort pick, and their back is against the wall here on map 5. As that's another team kill coming through for Iliad. They are 2, maybe 3 fights away from taking this map and the series with it.
It's not looking too good for Kasa. They gotta try and it doesn't look like they're gonna be able to get there to touch. If they do, it's gonna be at just the last moment. The Kitsune Rush comes out, the rock gets thrown. They are able to touch and stop the point. Painkiller though took Proven out with the Sundering Blade, and it is just going to be still members of Kasa falling as Amadou drops Red X. It's a 3v5 right now. McChicken trying to get something on this point. 1.5 meters to go. And it is going to be Leo dropping to Maverick, and that is going to be point taken and advanced for Iliad.
Yeah, so that went poorly Kitsune Rush to touch, and they also burned Sound Barrier in the process. Oh yeah, and now Floomfy is pushing cart holding pizza, while Maverick is pushing really aggressively into Kasa's spawn. They got a Gravitic Flux. They don't really have anything to pair it with other than Proven's Overclock, which could be enough, but they are able to get rid of Mardox. So that's going to stem the bleeding. That from Proven onto Mardox is Maverick going to reset. Now, this is where the Sigma can really get value done, is in this kind of poking lane right here. He can just output a lot of damage while the enemy is rushing forward. But you see there, he can't maintain that position.
Yeah, really quickly they're going to come around the corner, but we're going to see McChicken try to get a Sundering Blade off. Doesn't get anybody picked off with it, as he's now going to try to brawl with Maverick up here on the top side of the point. And it's few low members for Iliad, but the beats come out by Floomfy to save him. Mavericks, though, not going to be able to be saved by the relentlessness of McChicken. Leo taking out Painkare, and Kasa is going to once again hold on at this corner and prevent Iliad from finishing things off.
Yeah, Mardox coming up on his Kitsune Rush. Red X and X coming up on those support ultimators again after they used them ineffectively last time. So potentially, really, if you're Kasa, you really don't want to use these support ults at the same time again. I'd love to be able to get through this fight using both.
McChicken really low, is going to fall to Maverick. Maverick was looking for that revenge, but Proven's going to take out Amadou. So that's a nice kill pickup, but that's going to take away some of the range pressure that Kasa's been dealing with. But the Thorns come out, and they are going to catch him there. The Kitsune Rush by Kasa in retaliation, trying to keep things alive. So far, it is working out for them. Leo, Hex, and Proven picking up one apiece, and Red X on the backside finishing off Maverick. Floomfy did manage to take Leo off, but at the cost of the remaining members of his team. So that is going to still be Kasa holding on at this last point.
Yup, and very wisely, Hex not using his sound barrier, saving that for the next fight. That's exactly what you need to do if you're Kasa in this defensive situation.
Well, Sigma seems to be working out a lot better for them right now.
Yep. It helps that Proven has really has hit some really, especially using that disruptor shot really effectively. Like, see how he's using it to kind of block off that corner.
McChicken with a big kill there on Painkare, assisted by Lucio and Sigma. Into a double on Mardox, now hunting the backline members of Iliad, forcing them back to spawn once again.
Yeah, McChicken has really finally been able to get value on the Vendetta on this point C of defense. I mean, this is right, you know, Maverick now over to the Zarya, going to try and just rush down Leo on the Sigma. It's going to be on Mardox to disrupt this Gravitic Flux with his Suzu. Suzu used early now.
Yeah, and those quick kills that Proven is getting at the start of these fights is just giving Kasa the edge and momentum that they need to win that exchange and just definitively make, you know, Iliad reset. But Iliad's being smart. They're quickly resetting. You know, as soon as somebody's going down and it doesn't look like they're going to win the fight, they're falling back, they're regrouping to try and go back in again. The gravity is up, and McChicken is in there trying to follow through on it. Didn't quite have his ult available. Has it now, though. Still holding on to it. The members of Kasa are holding strong. Leo around 50% HP, and is just a little bit of an exchange. That payload trying to move around this final corner. Painkare has their ult available as well on Vendetta, but Amadou is down. Maverick falls. Members of Kasa just not letting this end the way that it looked like it was going to.
Yeah, Kasa refused to go down. This is their house, their Kasa point C. They are not going to let Iliad just waltz in. Maverick coming up on the Graviton Surge, potentially looking for a big combo with that Sundering Blade.
Proven fell off the map.
That's not good. That's not good at all. McChicken doesn't find anything with the ultimate. Here comes the beat, and here comes Iliad.
Hex managed to take out Maverick, but it may not be enough. It's still going to be a bit of a back and forth. Leo takes out Painkiller. Painkiller dropped Hex, but McChicken coming back from spawn and is going to finish things off. McChicken, Leo, and Red X dropping multiple members of Iliad, and they are going to hold on for dear life despite the little bit of a slip up by Proven having fallen off the map. What a finish there by Kasa to hold on and win this in game 5.
Leo, sorry for doubting you with the Sigma. That worked really well. Yeah, that 3rd point defense was real weird. Iliad had all of the momentum, and then it just kind of stalled. That's what happens sometimes. You get to 3rd point, and you just run out of gas. And the defense is able to establish themselves in a good position with those closer spawns. But a map 5 victory for Kasa, keeping their playoff hopes alive, making it just that little bit harder for Iliad. But it is going to be no relegation confirmed yet for Kasa. They keep themselves alive here in FACEIT League.
Yeah, and that's going to move them up to, 4-8. Iliad Artemis moving to 6-6. And that's an important win for Kasa here, as they've been struggling against some of these teams, but they had a really good showing against NTMR Academy, which is currently the 3rd ranked team. They're sitting at 8-3. They showed that they're able to play with that level of play. And, definitely a concerning time here having them go to game 5. Previously, their game 5 matches, they've just been out of gas in that game 5. And so good mental fortitude for them here, being able to hold on in that last match and, really bring it home and get that win.
Yeah, big win for Kasa. These are the types of wins that you really need. That's a really that was a great, just like stating the obvious. But I believe that is going to be it for us today. Thank you for joining us here, Kasa Esports FACEIT League Friday night. FACEIT,
Yeah, it was a good one. It's exciting. We still have a few more games left for FACEIT League, but that is going to wrap up night's match. We'll be back later. I believe their next matchup is against Extinction, but we will see when that time comes. We'll get confirmation for you on that going forward. But it is exciting. We will look to be back for their next matchup. But until then, we hope you all have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and we look to see you there.
All right. Stay warm, everybody.